We have a saying around here.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, no brains, no headache.
Well, hello, boys.
What's up? What's up?
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
It's episode 201 of No Brains, No Headache podcast. Name's Jordan, going to be your host today. Happy to be here. Damn glad to do it. As always, I'm here in studio. Longtime friend, fellow comedian. He's the co-host, the co-founder, the co-creator of No Brains, No Headache. His name is Ongo. I call him Matt. That's backwards. Ongo, how are you doing today?
Good. I'm absolutely doing great. I mean,
Had to think about that one for a sec.
I don't know. I'm glad to be doing this.
You're happy to be here.
Yeah.
You're lying to our listeners. Yeah. Moments ago, you said, let's get this shit over with. I'm already swearing 201.
That was you.
Oh, yeah.
Can we get this over with so I can go home?
It's my happy place, okay?
Yeah.
You know, years ago, we made fun of safe spaces, and I'm actually, the older I get, I'm for them. I like being in a spot where I can't be bothered. Leave me alone. I can do my own thing. You know, if I want to walk around playing the guitar naked, I can do that. Be a little weird if I did that in the studio.
Yeah, it would be.
I'm just trying to pull a Jenny from Forrest Gump, okay? Yank me off stage because I'm doing a burlesque show.
You're standing in your apartment, just Freebird playing, but you can't get your window open.
I'm pretty much Jenny from Forrest Gump, except for the AIDS. And I do have a test to prove it. We don't need to get into that. Episode 201, Matt. Happy 4 years of No Brains, No Headache. There we go. High fives. Nice and crisp one. What do you think, the 4 years? We do a lot of reminiscing on the show, and I think it's time to reminisce once again on 4 years. 4 calendar years. 365 times 4. That's what you're at. To the day, almost.
I don't think, other than like lived and my job, I don't think I've done anything for 4 years.
Well, you have been sucking on the sauce for about, I don't know, 13.
I took like 12 years off.
That's okay, though.
Well, and then I turned 13 and things just got away from me.
Decided it was time to put it down. But yeah, 4 years of No Brains, No Headache. I did a very loose tally, you watch me, of how many guests that we've had in the 201 episodes, the 4 years of No Brains, No Headache. Matt, what was your guess?
I said like 120.
Okay, I tallied up 103 guests. That doesn't mean we've had 103 episodes with guests. We've had a few recurring guests, and then we've had full bands on, for example. We've had, actually, that's the only thing is when there's multiple people, is music groups. We had Reigns with Joe Berger. We had Slamabama. That's a couple, and then we had Diamonds and Whiskey, which was 4, actually.
Yeah.
People had to share the microphone. We didn't have enough microphones.
Well, Diamonds and Whiskey is weird because Pat's like just their drummer, and then he was like, comes with, and like, I guess Pat's doing it too, and it's like, we didn't bring that many microphones.
No, we barely had enough to cover half the band.
And those microphones sucked compared to what we have now.
But yeah, and then we've had multiple people in studio before. But yeah, well, I loosely counted 103. So I just want to say thank you to all of the guests we've had over the years for coming on our show. It was all the way back when we were just interviewing friends for practice. And we didn't even bother putting it in the description, I found out. Looking back on it, we've had like 7 different logos. Do you think that's bad for a branding perspective?
No, I like our new logo now. I think it really fits with what we're doing.
We had a friend make a cartoon as our logo for our first one.
Oh, yeah.
It was bad.
Wasn't great. And like you couldn't even read what it is. It was just like a bee flying out of a guy's head.
You could say graphic design is Matt's passion.
I've gotten immensely better at it.
Yeah.
From the first episode.
Mind our listeners, this is an independent, self-taught podcast. Not a whole lot gets outsourced. Matter of fact, none gets nothing gets outsourced.
Oh, no, we did. I outsourced. I went on Fiverr.com and paid for a new logo, and we essentially just got the Pornhub logo.
Yeah, they just took NBNH podcast and took the same color scheme and design as Pornhub and then made it NBNH, which I'm not upset about.
Wasn't bad.
But I do believe I asked you to email the guy back and say, give us something else.
Yeah. It was basically they might have switched the colors around, but it's like everyone knew what it was, and it's like, I don't know if we can do this.
That was fine. It's good to have the alternative logo. You know, all the professional sports teams, they got all sorts of different logos and jerseys going now. We're bringing that to podcasting. Look at you.
This is just words.
That's just a font on Canva, free edition. So we're just giving away all of our trade secrets. But thank you to our listeners for listening for 4 years. There might be something wrong with you. Yeah. If you're still on board, you may want to see professional help, a therapist. I don't have any recommendations for you, obviously, but I could probably put you in the right direction. So, yeah, thanks for listening. Any other thoughts, comments, concerns, questions you may have about 4 years of podcasting?
It's funny to look back and just the janky shit that we did. Like, we had like folding tables that were like, changed them a little bit.
Yeah,
we had one mic that we just put in the middle and just yelled at it.
And this is our second podcast, people. A little history of No Brains, No Headache. Matt and myself, years ago, one summer in college, we fired up what we called BV Sports Talk, which stood for Blurred Vision Sports Talk. You would about imagine the premise was we would get drunk and talk about sports. I did it on my lunch break one day.
I got blackout drunk a couple of times.
It was like middle of the day in summertime.
Well, I'd be like, I don't have to work today, so, and I would just go buy like the most obscure, like I remember Buzz Balls just came out, and I got like 7 of them, and I'm like, you know what? It's gonna go really well in this stomach. 7 different sugary drinks.
You know what makes you a good podcaster? Cheap grain alcohol that's on special at the liquor store.
If I wasn't puking after we were done with Blurred Vision Sports Talk, it was not a good episode.
I think you had to leave one time. You were a little out of hand there.
One time we had a guest come in, and he accidentally took my laptop home with him.
The old switcheroo. A trick as old as time. So yeah, this is our second podcast, but that one lasted like 14 episodes, I want to say.
And it was only on SoundCloud.
The good old days, you know. But now here we are, No Brains, No Headache. We got a bunch of no-brainers listening to us, our loyal listeners. So thank you to them. Thank you to our guests. That's my favorite part of podcasting for sure, is meeting new people. It's nice to have a reason to talk to people. It's nice to kind of have something to talk about, but I do say, and I stand by it to this day, podcasting is a lot like CrossFit. Same with stand-up comedy is a lot like CrossFit. Nobody gives a shit, and they probably think you're insane, and they might be onto something there. But that's okay. Having fun doing it. We're here. 201 episodes. You do the math. That means in 4 years, we have only taken off 7 weeks of podcasting, which is incredible if you ask me, through sickness and travel and vacations and holidays. Seem to be cranking them out. It can get pretty easy.
What do you think is the weirdest interview that we've ever done?
Okay, I know one. It was around Groundhog's Day, and I was really in the topical theme of things.
This
I wanted to be. You weren't even there.
I know, but this is the one I was thinking of.
So I reached out to the owner of Punxsutawney Pizza, which is a pizza joint in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania, which is the home of the Groundhog's Day, an American treasure. So I land the owner of Punxsutawney Pizza, apparently a world-famous pizza maker, a pizza dough tosser, and Matt, his schedule didn't work out, so I conducted the interview by myself, like middle of the day, in January, which I don't know, that doesn't matter, but still a desolate time of the year for one. And it was awkward. The dude wasn't giving me much to work with. I mean, thank him for coming on, but did not give me a whole lot to work with. It was awkward. There was a lot of pauses.
I think he thought it was like a news interview, is what I kind of gathered from him.
For a while there, No Brains, No Headache, we would fool people they would think we were some sort of legit media mogul outlet, We are not. But that gives me faith that we did fool them a little bit. You know, fake it till you make it. Year 4, still faking it.
Yep.
What does making it in podcasting even mean? What are you going to get paid $4 an episode? Is that making it?
I think the worst thing I did was, well, besides like every, like, I don't know, 2 months, I just have a real drunk episode.
We haven't had one of those in a while.
But Alec Rawhauser was coming over to my house to do an interview, and we were at the bar beforehand. Not with him, but we were at the same bar as him. And I give him my address so he can come over. And I'm not really thinking about it. And he pulls up, and I'm just taking a piss next to my garage. And I'm like, oh, yeah, hey, come on in.
Only the finest here in Bismarck, North Dakota.
That was a tough one for me.
We had an interview with a gentleman who was apparently just on the sidewalk of a freeway, and it was rush hour traffic because all you could hear was cars just zooming by. That was an interesting one.
Yeah, that was probably one of the worst ones, I would say.
It's always bad when you get like a comedian or maybe an actor or actress from living out in New York, LA or something, and like it's like, wow, they're actually going to give us time for the interview, and then the connections is terrible.
Yeah.
That's always a tough one to overcome.
It's also tough to, like, you pay for a software and it just ends up blowing ass.
Yeah.
Made that mistake a couple of times.
Yeah. And I'm not one to, give second chances. Once the grudge is set, the bridge has been burned, it's over with.
Yeah, I mean, that was the first one we did. We had one bad experience, and Jordan's like, you know what?
Well, there's other options out there, and
Yep.
It's not too difficult to switch. That's what I'm going to do. 4 years of No Brains, No Headache. Here, I don't have anything to cheers, but here is to 4 more years. Here's an imaginary cheers.
Clink.
Cheers to our listeners, or if you're watching on YouTube, that seems to be the new pop and platform to get your No Brains, No Headache fix. So that's what's up. What do we have going on? Oh, if you want to come party with us, you can. Be celebrating the 4-year anniversary. Reach out to us. We'll get you details on that. And honestly, I thought of it. I was like, there's a good chance it's just me and Matt and I going out for an evening on the town.
I think what we're going to do is it's going to be like a snowball effect where we'll meet like 1 or 2 people at each place we go. And then by the end of the night, I'm just like, everyone over to my place. Because that ends well.
Should we spend all of our petty cash on tuxedos? Just like you guys made a terrible financial.
I don't think we would need tuxedos. I don't think we need to spend all of our money. I think
tuxedo t-shirts. Compromise?
I'm in.
Okay.
Or I was going to say we go like buy the Dumb and Dumber tuxedos for like $99 on Amazon or something.
We could. There's not a whole lot of time. The celebration is a few days away.
I used to have an orange one.
Of course you did.
Well, it was in college, and I wore it one time, and I was at a tailgate for a football team, hooks up, and and before,
definitely a real school that you went to.
Before the game even started, I passed out in the back of a truck. And then I woke up like 5 hours later and people were leaving.
See, don't get me wrong. I've always wanted to do the Dumb and Dumber matching tuxedo bit, but I feel like I appreciate it and respect it so much that I would need to do like an actual, it can't be the Halloween costume version, but it also doesn't need to be a custom tailored suit. Meet somewhere in the middle of that where I want to do it right. But yeah, we'll dress up. We'll talk about it. We'll figure out what we're going to do. We're going to go have some nice dinner. I'm planning this, by the way, because that's just how things operate. Going to have a nice dinner, Matt. We'll talk. I'm not going to give any shout outs right now, but I have a few ideas. So I hope you're hungry.
Yeah, okay. I don't do well with fancy things, so.
It's not that fancy.
Okay, good.
It's Bismarck, North Dakota. How fancy can we possibly get?
I don't know.
As long as we avoid like 2 places, which aren't on my list.
You go to the North Arby's instead of the South Arby's.
A little too fancy, a little too rich for my blood. Happy 4 years, everybody. Let's have a good episode, Matt. What do we got?
I was thinking about red flags in people that like you date, and I
It's usually the whole idea of dating. It's just
Well,
like,
actually-
let's find these red flags and let them upset
you
us.
brought it up. You're like, the biggest red flag is if they actually like me. And I was like, well, you got a point. And
Yeah, if you're actually into me, it's like, whoa, 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 whoa.
so there was this girl that I knew of, and I didn't really like hang out with her at all, but like she just was a walking red flag. And at one point, she put on like her Snap story that like they were at a bar with like one of her friends that's a girl, and they on a bar napkin signed like a contract that they were going to be each other's maids of honor.
How old were you?
21.
Okay. We're doing a napkin. And I think anytime the napkin contract agreement comes out, you know, maybe you're talking business. In this case, you're talking a maid of honor.
Well, and the only reason I remembered it is because I like saw like someone was tagged in this, and then it was like one of the girls that did that, and like she was in a wedding dress, and I was like, what? Turns out she was on her second wedding, and I was like, I wonder if she got to be the maid of honor twice.
Yeah, how far does that agreement go? Is it for the first wedding only? Maybe that's why she got married the first time. She's like, I need to kind of
I need to. It's like
honor this.
a green card wedding, but to get out of this bar napkin contract.
It's a bar napkin contract wedding, similar to a shotgun wedding, but not at all.
But I was like, that's maybe one of the biggest red flags on planet Earth.
They're just two girlfriends having fun, Matt. What's so wrong with that?
It's weird.
I mean, I don't think there's much substance to a bar napkin contractual agreement. I've seen people. I once witnessed two gentlemen who were meeting up for a business meeting, and they were doing snow removal, right? And I think this was like at like a ground round or something, because there's crayons involved. And they were talking about the best way to remove snow from a parking lot, and the dude drew it out on like a piece of paper with crayons. I was like, oh yeah.
I mean, you do what you have there, I
Here's
guess.
the game plan. I better file that in the very important file.
Let me just take a picture of this crayon drawing so I can.
I'll send it to my guy.
He'll know what it means.
Yeah, I don't know. Red flags. You gotta watch out for them. What? Any other red flag examples?
No, I was just thinking of that story, and it was driving me insane because I think I subconsciously like buried it because I was like, this is the dumbest shit I've ever seen.
How do you feel about like if somebody tells you they have like 3 or 4 different jobs? That's always kind of been an interesting aspect to me. It's like, why? What's going on here?
I've always kind of wondered that, like, it usually leads me into other red flags. Like, what are you spending your money on? Like, if you work this full-time job, but you're like, I also deal blackjack because, you know, times are tough. And it's like,
I'll give blackjack a pass. You can make bank real quick, but
there's people that's like, yeah, I gotta go coach. And it's like, oh, do you really like it? Like, no, it just pays okay. And it's like, so does your actual job.
So does your 9 to 5, 40 hours a week job.
I coached because I liked doing it until I didn't like doing it anymore, and then I stopped. I wasn't financially like. Usually, if they have more than like 2 jobs, it's like, okay,
What's going on here?
yeah. It's like, you know what? I have 10 part-time jobs where I work 4 hours a week.
Well, I'm not prepared to discuss red flags any further.
It's
Without
just
sounding really mean. It is what it is. Red flags 101. I did another 30 days of no alcohol, Matt. This time, not a single drop.
I'm at 30 hours.
Nice. Right on. Are you? I had lunch with you yesterday and you had a beer. It's about 30 hours.
I'm at 27 hours.
Okay. Yeah, that's more accurate. I'll give you 30. 30 days, 30 hours. I actually feel a lot better this time, which is nice.
I ever since you said the thing about like even when you don't drink you can feel hungover, like on Friday night I got obliterated and I was hungover the next day. Saturday didn't drink. I felt like even worse on Sunday morning.
Okay, here's what you got to do. Because last time I did the sobriety challenge, I wasn't really exercising any more than normal or really paying any attention to my diet. I think I was eating everything in sight. It was awesome. The good old days. This time I actually paid attention to what I was eating, tried not to eat so much, exercising almost every day. I had a couple rest days there, walking a lot more. It's beautiful out. You know me. I'm not going to get into the walking, hiking debate. It's a hike. But doing that, you mix all that together, you get really good sleep. You actually do feel a lot better, a lot more clear, a lot more clarity.
Yeah.
Was what I'm going for. I just had a brain fart trying to explain how I'm more clear. So maybe that's not the best selling point, but
kind of just reminds me of like Hyde on that 70s show when he stops smoking and drinking. And he's like, your skin's clear. Your eyes aren't foggy. I barely recognize you.
I talked to somebody who was a heavy marijuana smoker, and then they've been off the dope for a few years now, and they told me they have vivid dreams of them smoking weed. It's like, well, I hope your dreams come true someday. It's pesky drug tests.
Yeah, that just seems weird.
I mean, it makes sense. I know you do have some pretty wicked dreams if you're a heavy consumer of the cannabis products, and if you stop, I have heard that a lot of people have some crazy dreams.
I've been having some nutty dreams lately because I've been watching a lot of crime shows.
Okay.
Like, honestly,
like the dream where you got sold in a cattle rink.
Oh, that was because I drove by a cattle sale place.
And then we had Joe on and the subconscious and the DMT was just all working together.
But I've been having a lot of like murder mysteries, or I either have that or I'm a different character in one of the first Pirates of the Caribbean movies.
Stop. Let's stop here right there.
Dude, it's kind of fun when you're the giant squid. Just blah, 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 blah.
Davy Jones?
I've been him.
Is that what his name is, the squid dude? Is that Davy Jones?
Yeah.
Let's just get in a quick analytical breakdown of the cast of Pirates of the Caribbean.
But I would love to know like a therapist about like which character in, it's like when I was the heart inside the box for one time.
That
I'm often those two guys that are idiots that are like
one who has a fake eye.
Yeah, that keeps falling out, gets like stuck by a fork, and he's just looking around.
That's more you. I imagine you as the chubby bald guy.
I don't think I've ever been Jack Sparrow.
That's too bad.
I've been Natalie Portman's character a lot.
Isn't it Keira Knightley?
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. I found out. It's still proven this time around. You can still feel like shit, regardless of being sober off of the booze or not. Because I'm still an after party fiend. I found out. I sniffed out some after parties this last weekend. I was the DD, no big deal. Crushed a couple NA beers. Was feeling pretty light in the feet. I had a run-in with the police this weekend. First time in a while.
Nice.
Yeah, it turns out when you go to a shop party, as we call it here in North Dakota, and people have toys there, automotive motorsports toys, and then they just want to rev the engine as loud as they can. And it's funny watching drunk people, because after the cops came and they're just like, yeah, you got to keep it down, whatever, they're cool and left. The people I was with were like, who in the hell, how could they possibly call? It's like, well, we were revving an engine as loud as we could, and it was just echoing throughout this whole building and alleyway. Yeah, drunk people watching, probably it's up there. I probably look like a goof though, because I'm probably like staring at people or just have no emotion on my face. Kind of like you when people walk into open mic night, you're immediately like,
I like to see who's coming in the door.
well, then you should sit somewhere where you don't have to crank the neck.
You know what? I don't think about it.
You're gonna have to go to the Cairo for an adjustment if you keep on doing that. But
I'm having this real problem with Lyft drivers where I try to like mold my personality into theirs.
while you're getting a ride.
Yeah, like I try to become best friends. Like this guy Harrison was a big FC Barcelona fan, and he didn't speak a lick of English, and I don't know a lot about FC Barcelona.
But you acted as if you did.
Oh yeah.
Classic move.
And-
I love the difference between like large cities and then Bismarck, North Dakota. Everyone I know here will chat up the driver. In cities, it's like, don't even look my direction.
The driver that me and Bertie Mac had on the way to the bar, he was like a 65-year-old guy that was driving a van, and one of the seats was removed, and he had one of those scooters where like one of your legs are broken, and so you put your leg on it, and it was just sitting there, and I was resting my foot on it. The guy fully thought he was in a relationship with Lainey Wilson.
Interesting.
She's like,
And he wasn't?
no.
She did date a guy from Minot one time.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not making that up.
Was it Josh Duhamel?
It was not Josh Duhamel.
Okay.
But I did hear that from somebody, and they even went as far as to start calling the guy to like prove it to me. I was like, that's fine. I don't want to talk to him. I don't care.
He must have just had a breathtakingly huge hog.
I mean, whatever does it for Lainey, that's
But this
her
guy
deal.
was like, yeah, she gave me your number. And he was probably texting like one of those that's like, yeah, just text me. It's like an automated thing. But he was like, yeah, she's on tour right now in the
United States of America.
No, in like Europe. And I was like thinking, I'm like, she was just on the ACM Awards. And she was not in Europe.
Well, she probably flies back and forth. I don't know.
Red Lobster's been
Hold
in the news.
hold on, Matt. Let's see. Oh, I also met a stripper, ex-retired stripper.
What does she do now?
No idea. Don't care.
They don't get good retirement benefits?
Apparently not. It was just interesting being off the sauce and still just having like kind of wild nights. I also went to a concert to find the dirtiest hippies that Bismarck has to offer. You went to the same concert with me last fall and you hated it.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's because they made me pay to get in and they didn't have Busch Light.
Yeah, not the venue for you. But that was my most recent time. 30 days off the sauce. Gonna celebrate, obviously, for the 4-year anniversary. That is technically May 22nd. Mark it on your calendars. If you don't wish us a happy 4-year anniversary, Matt's gonna feel a little left out. But that's all I got. Red Lobster.
Yeah, I just typed in my stripper name and it says my stripper name is Cherry Cheeks. So
Cherry Cheeks.
Red Lobster. They're filed for bankruptcy
Okay.
today. It's a solemn day in the United States. Apparently, and I don't know how they couldn't see this one coming, when they sell unlimited shrimp for $20 and it bankrupts the company, and they're like, how could we not see this financially coming? It's like, you don't realize how fat people are in America.
I'm pretty upset at myself for not taking advantage of this. Had I known that I could take down an entire corporation by buying the $20 all-you-can-eat shrimp deal, I would have been there every other day.
I think American companies should just stop doing it. Like, there's Buffalo Wild Wings. It's $20 for all you can eat boneless wings twice a week.
Why are you saying they should stop, Matt?
Well, I'm saying it's probably not fiscally responsible.
You're not the CEO of these companies. Matt, we are against corporate America. Whether you like it or not, you're roped in with me. I'm waging war against Corp-Am, as we call it. And if we can take them down through their food specials, I'm all for it.
I feel like chicken's a pretty easy one to do because the market's pretty regulated.
The chicken market?
I feel like shrimp's a tough thing to do because the market and cost of it, especially when you're shipping it.
You're telling me that we don't have any fresh shrimp around here in Bismarck, North Dakota?
You're not pulling it out of Devil's Lake. You'd be pulling a dead body out of Devil's Lake before you pull any shrimp.
What's going on? Why don't we have any fresh seafood around here? Oh, wait. We're landlocked for like 1,500 miles each way minimum.
I just think of Forrest Gump when they let out the first shrimp thing and a toilet seat comes out of it.
Yeah. I love shrimp.
I'm not a big shrimp guy. I'll eat it if it's available, but I'm not going to go order it.
Okay, let's not go down a road of talking about food. I'm really hungry.
We always do.
I know. You offered me a slice of summer sausage earlier, and that was deleted in about 0.4 seconds. So,
Dude, summer sausage is so good.
okay, what else about Red Lobster and going bankrupt?
I don't know. They lost like $11 billion.
Is the Bismarck Red Lobster closing, yes or no?
Yes.
When?
it might already be closed.
Son of fuck. Why didn't anybody tell me about this scam that we could have gotten in?
I don't know.
All you can eat shrimp? Hello.
I mean,
Although I quit going to Red Lobster years ago.
I haven't been.
Because I would actually order lobster at Red Lobster, and it was like the size of a very small, like, chicken finger.
It's just a crawfish.
Pretty much. And it was like, oh, I wonder why Bismarck, North Dakota doesn't get huge, fresh lobster.
There was something Tillman. He owns the Rockets, I think. But there was a show on CNBC that he would. He owns Bubblegum Shrimp, and he would go in and kind of do like the bar rescue for businesses.
Everybody knows Forrest Gump owns Bubblegum Shrimp, dude.
Well, he doesn't. It's something Tillman, I think. Tillman Fertitta, that's his name.
And stealing ideas.
And he went into this.
Forrest has been through enough. Okay, everybody died in his life.
He went into,
and his wife left him to go have a ton of sex with a bunch of AIDS people in San Francisco.
Well,
you think he served this country, and now we're stealing Forrest Gump's idea? They're the next one I'm gonna bankrupt.
Forrest Gump 2, and it's just him dying needlessly of AIDS.
I got the AIDS.
It's Lieutenant Dan just winning the Olympics with his bio.
But he's transgender now.
Lieutenant Daniela.
I could see this. I think we just wrote Forrest Gump 2.
Or Forrest Gump 2, Lieutenant Dan loses his arms.
Oh, man.
He's just a traffic cone.
He just turns into a bionic man. It's actually a Terminator spinoff.
Yeah, it's like... what book are you reading? He's like, it's about a guy with no arms and legs who swims the English Channel. That's not possible. Oh, yeah, he drowned immediately.
It's about 10 pages.
Yeah, it's
pretty short.
It's one page. He dove in and never came back up.
You were saying?
I don't remember. Okay. Yeah. Forrest Gump 2 could be wild. I know they wrote the plot to it, or like they wrote a script for it, but I don't know what it's about.
For Forrest Gump 2?
Yeah. I mean, there's so many different ways you could go, and it could be a good movie, but it would take someone writing it for like 30 years.
What do you think Happy Gilmore 2 got greenlit?
It is going to suck.
Is that for sure?
There's no way it's going to be any good.
All right. We have the New York City / Dublin, Ireland portal. Matt, have you heard of this? It's been taken over the internet.
I've seen it, but the only one I saw was just this chick that was totally stacked, showing her cans to one side of the world.
Yeah, that actually happened the day after I really dove into what was going on. But this is very clearly an Irish media media company thingy.
And what are they?
Drunken behavior, bare arses, even mocking 9/11. It's only been a few days since the live portal between Dublin and New York City was unveiled, and it's already become a hotbed for antisocial behavior. The New York Post claims the installation is, quote, already bringing out the worst in people, end quote.
I did see the 9/11 one. It was kind of funny.
What happened there?
Someone was just like, they're like, oh, hey, everyone wave to New York, and someone just puts a picture of 9/11 on their phone and just holds it up to the camera, so that's all they see in New York.
I love these comments under it. Very sarcastic. Who could have foreseen such a thing?
I mean, it's essentially like when we were kids and you'd go into a Cracker Barrel and they would have the parrot that would like repeat back to you, and you would just say like shit or like boobs into it. It's essentially that for adults.
Please don't over-amplify one or two bad incidents versus thousands of good ones.
What's good?
Well, the one showing her cans, that was two good ones in one action.
Dude, she had huge boobs.
Okay. That street is the epitome of drink and drugs-induced behavior. Bound to happen, unfortunately. Do the people that came up with the idea not live in the real world? This was always going to be a disaster.
What if they like caught a murder on the portal?
I mean, that would be great, I guess. Was this like Doctor Strange? Is he the one who just kind of like makes a portal?
Yeah, and then goes around.
I mean, if that could happen, what do you think let's just go back, say you're hearing for the first time, there's a portal between New York City and Ireland. What are you thinking? On a public street?
I'm showing my ass. Like,
Oh, I was going to go dong, but that's it.
I mean, maybe if I was dating Lainey Wilson and from Minot. I was thinking a portal would be better if it was like, because Dublin's a pretty together city.
You ever been there?
No, but I knew people that have. And I think if it would have been funny if they did like New York and then did like Sheng Shui, China.
Yeah, I don't think China is. You still don't really understand the relations between the United States of America and China.
It's where I get most of my
Not
things.
great.
But then why do I get all my things from there?
I'm just saying, I don't think China, I don't think they want us seeing them at all. I'm sure they would love to have a portal on every street corner in America.
Okay, I'll do one that's like less controversial. Like maybe one in Russia.
Maybe Ukraine.
Yeah. Well, Ukraine's an ally.
It's a war zone also.
What if it was like Israel? They just put a portal and immediately gets hit by a Scud missile.
They should have a portal in a war zone for sure, so we can like watch the war live. Now are we talking?
I mean, yeah.
I think the people on the other end are going to be so busy trying not to die that they won't be, showing their bare arses or making fun of 9/11.
I mean, no, they wouldn't.
Anything with New York it's the 9/11 jokes. I mean, if you Matt's never been there. One of his favorite topics to joke about.
I don't joke about 9/11 that often. Well, that's not true. But it's like word association. If you say New York,
pizza.
I was gonna say hot dogs. Boston.
Red Sox.
Marathon.
What else you got?
Austin.
Weird dude from high school.
Clock tower shooting.
Oh. Well, nothing gets by Matt. For those of you scoring at home, I believe that was about 2.5 second reaction time. Let's watch the replay, shall we?
You got any new jokes?
Well, I was just gonna finish up with saying like this tweet in particular that I quoted earlier, very clearly an Irish-based one, but by the sounds of it, the Dublin location was a terrible location because everyone says it's just like a terrible neighborhood, and like people walk by, they're like, yeah, they deal drugs there all the time. It's like, all right, we're gonna put a portal here in South Compton, and we're gonna hook it up with Japan. It's like, okay, maybe something else.
Yeah, we didn't see this going bad. We just put it in an elementary school, and it's like, well, turns out the kids are assholes.
Here's what needed to happen. This portal needed to happen before like FaceTime or perhaps the internet altogether.
Yep.
Now, if that happened, people would be like, oh my goodness, those tits are awesome.
Yeah.
Instead, now they're like, those tits, you keep them off my portal. I'm pro nipple.
Yep.
So that one definitely overtook the internet.
Also, do you get charged with indecent exposure in both cities?
Yeah, well, is the portal technically international waters? So if you like, there's a loophole where if you just blatantly deal drugs on the portal, they're like, we can't prosecute from either side.
Maybe put a portal at the DMZ between both Koreas. Then it's kind of like international waters.
Did you say DMZ?
The demilitarized zone.
Oh, I thought you were mixing. Never mind.
The DMV.
I thought you were mixing. Yeah.
What if there was a DMV at
I thought you were
the
mixing
DMV?
TMZ with DMV. Just a mix of the two.
What if there was a DMC? I'm fucked now.
All right, let's move on to jokes because we do have an interview after this with our boy Pedro. So don't want to go too long, but new jokes. Who's going first?
I'll go. Did you see that the airport did a ribbon cutting because Allegiant added a new flight to Florida? Now that we have 3 flights to Florida, I think we're getting a little aggressive with the ribbon cuttings. Uber exists. Maybe just take an Uber.
We got a lot of Uber jokes.
Yeah, it's mainly.
Aren't you banned from Uber?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was fired from riding.
I was having an anniversary dinner with a lady friend, and she was doing dishes, and I was like, whoa, 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 what are you doing? You don't do dishes on our anniversary night. You can do these tomorrow.
There is a coffee before workout craze going around, which has led to an epidemic of people shitting their pants during their workout.
Okay. Gotta watch out for it. This one I don't know how I feel about, but let's give it a run, shall we? Aaron Rodgers doing a darkness retreat is a lot like a white dude having a sex with a black woman. A white dick disappears into a black hole. I don't know. Was that too far?
It's not bad.
Not sure.
One time I walked into our office and everyone kind of looked sad, so I said, "Who died?" And they responded with, "The guy who fixes the escalator." Turns out he forgot to shut off the power.
The other day, I told you we were talking about a lady friend, and I said, one of us said to each other, you should make a run at her. I said, what is this, the 9 3/4 platform in Harry Potter?
Well, you said she had a boyfriend that was an ugly redhead, and then you immediately said you should take a run at her. Well, you're not wrong.
Should make a run at her as if she's the 9 3/4 platform in Harry Potter.
I hate when people say there's nothing to do in North Dakota. We just broke the record for most people eating s'mores simultaneously.
That we did, Matt. Very keen observation. Somebody once said I don't look inflamed anymore. And that was the most polite way of somebody telling me congratulations for not being a fat ass anymore.
War back in the day was a little bit wild. I figured out that we won the Revolutionary War because we were the first side to figure out that to stop having a band march us into battle. We just gave weapons to the people that had instruments.
That's very smart. Is that actually what happened? Is that historically accurate?
I don't know, but Britain always had people drumming and shit.
I do. In the movie The Patriot, homeboy is like playing the snare drum, and you can see he's got a bandage on his head. He's just bleeding through. I'm like, that would be, let's just walk. Let's march forward. I don't have anything to like fight with. Does the dude just start stabbing people with his drumsticks when they charge? Like when they yell charge and they actually...
Well, do you know like what so they would stand across a field from each other and then be like, all right, your guys' turn to go first. And they would just shoot and like a couple people would drop and then it's like, all right.
Matt, I've seen the movie The Patriot before.
It's nuts.
It's an honorable way of fighting. You ever heard of sucker punches? People don't like those very much. But if you go out, you square them up, even Stevens, you're ready to go.
Okay.
I was picking up a broad at the bar, and she said, no thanks, I like mine black and 8 inches. And I said, hold on, honey, I'll paint it any color you want, but I ain't cutting 2 inches off for anybody.
I don't think Hunter Biden's necessarily a bad guy. He just loves nose nachos, making a lot of money, and not paying taxes. I'm not seeing a problem with anything he does.
There's a point there. It's a very good point to be made.
Oh, so he's an American? Cool.
What's a barber's worst enemy?
My hairline.
Yeah, baldness. You got it. I don't know if that's a joke or just kind of like an epiphany. How do people with huge guts get adjusted at the chiropractor? I don't have a punchline. That's just a question I have.
I don't know.
Do you ever think about that?
Do they have to go to like a zoo chiropractor? like if you're too fat, you have to go get an MRI at the zoo?
I've told this one last week, but I don't know if the podcast heard it. The IRS and taxes, sometimes they take it too far. Like they'll steal your dog or pizza straight out of your fridge. The other day I got an email saying, thanks for the pizza, bitch. And of course you only do taxes once a year, so you always forget how much they piss you off, and then kind of just blows over and you don't do anything about it, and then the next year it just upsets you, but then you get over it and you don't do anything about it. Sounds like a scam. Yep. It does sound fishy. The government can run a scam and nobody bats an eye, but I try to run a scam and everyone's mad at me because apparently Mary Kay was a known racist. I didn't know that. I was just trying to make a few bucks off some stay-at-home moms. Maybe drive a pink Cadillac.
Wonder if there's ever been a crime committed in a Mary Kay car.
For sure. I think that's all I got.
We can get into Pedro now.
Yeah, that's all I got for jokes. So that's episode 201. Cleary's comments. Interview after this. Make sure you're subscribing. We'll see you for episode 202, I guess. Godspeed. Enjoy your remaining years. Cherry Tits or whatever your stripper's name is.
Cherry Cheeks.
All right, Cherry Tits. Have a
Bam,
good
bam,
one.
bam, bam, bam.